Okay, so today we're going to be talking about facial bones and nasal bones. For all of these, we have 3 positions, okay? For facial bones, it's going to be the Caldwell. That's exactly the same as when we did skull. Then we're going to have the Waters view, and then we have the lateral, okay? For the nasal bones, we're going to have a left lateral nasal, a right lateral nasal, and then the Waters view that'll be collimated down to see just the nasal area of the skull, okay? For all of these, we can do portrait. I think our book for lateral nasal says crosswise, but that's because it was written when we were doing CR and film. So what they would do would be shield half of the image receptor, do that left side, and then they would shield the other half and do the right side so that they'd be side by side for comparison. In digital world, we don't have that, so we take the image and it shows up on the computer screen right away. So we're going to, you can leave it lengthwise, okay? We're gonna use our 10 by 12. So it's already in here, 10 by 12 in here lengthwise, which means I'm going to have 12 top to bottom and 10 side to side. And then for my Caldwell, we're going to have what kind of an angle? 15. So a 15-degree caudal angle for the Caldwell. Another thing that I want you guys to note while we're doing particularly the nasal bones is there's the little switch here to turn the laser off. And so when we're doing the nasal bones, we're centering a 1/2 inch below the nasion, so right in your patient's eye almost. So turning that laser off is going to be important so we're not blinding our patient, okay? Can I get a patient, please? Thanks, Corey. All right. So I'm gonna have you go ahead and have a seat there. We want to make sure we're using gloves with this practicum because we're touching people's faces and they don't want you to touch their face with your hands and you don't want to touch their face with your hands. So, shielding, we will do the same thing we did for the skull practicum. So just a rolling shield behind our patient, just like that. So I'm gonna have my patient put her nose and forehead to the board. Perfect. And I want to exit the nasion, right? Actually, I'm almost there. It was real close. I'm gonna bring this up just a little bit. Okay, good. Right there. And I'm gonna throw a left marker here in this top corner. Make sure I'm not clipping the lower part of her jaw or anything. Make sure she's nice and straight and I'm in the middle of her head. Just a little bit. No, your whole head. Because now you're tilted. There we go. So I'm centered in the back of her head, and we're going to have her hold her breath, and that is our Caldwell. Okay? So the next view, I'm going to take my angle off, and we're going to do the Waters. So for this one, I'm going to have my patient bring her chin all the way up so that the MML is perpendicular to the image receptor. So the mental medial line all the way up and perpendicular. Okay, so way up, stretch your neck. Perfect, just like that. Rest your chin on the board. It's gonna come up. Okay, go ahead. Good. And I'm exiting her acanthion. So here, if I follow my red laser around, I'm exiting the acanthion. Again, I wanna make sure she's straight and centered. Right there. Good. Left marker. We can collimate a little bit top to bottom if we can with our patient. That's going to vary per patient. But MML, perpendicular, exiting the acanthion, hold your breath. That's the Waters. Okay? And then the lateral, we want to do a left lateral unless there's injury to the right side of the face, right? But for the recording purpose, I'm going to do a right lateral just so it's easier to see where I'm centered and stuff, okay? So I'm gonna have my patient put her right ear to the board like she's listening through the wall, okay? And then our centering is different here. So we're centering between the outer canthus of the eye and the EAN. So we come to the middle. It's just below the temple, okay? Our temple's here. We're centering just below the temple on the zygoma, okay? So, I'm gonna bring this down, and I'm gonna have you scoot back for me, and then you're tilted a little bit. turn the laser off with this one as well. So just that little switch. Outer canthus, EAM right there. And I'm gonna line up. Hold on, sorry. Okay, go back. And make sure that your patient's not tilted or rotated, right? So we wanna make sure she's nice and straight. And then we can collimate side to side. So we want to make sure we have the EAM and I'm not clipping off her nose, okay? And then because this is a right lateral, for the video purpose, for practicum, do a left lateral, okay? But that is my lateral facial bones. And she's going to hold her breath. Okay, good? Now I'm gonna have you stay in that position. We'll go ahead and do her nasal bone. So nasal bones, we're collimating really small, right? So we're going to come, side, let's see, back up a little bit. That way, more. Whoop. Right there. So because our line is kind of thick, you're putting that blob of black on a 1/2 inch below the nasion, okay? So her nasion is here, going about a 1/2 inch down. Don't move. And then I'm gonna collimate top to bottom, and we literally want to just leave enough room to stick a marker side to side, okay? Same thing, make sure she's not tilted or rotated. And that is going to be my right lateral nasal bone. Okay, hold your breath. Then all we're gonna do is have her turn and face the other way and do her left lateral. So go ahead and turn your head the other way. And I'm going to move the shield so I can go over here. Scoot back for me. Just straight that way. More. More. Don't fall off the stool. Right there, still same centering. I stick my marker up here, hold your breath. That is my left lateral nasal, okay? So there's no difference from the right to the left. It's just centering in the same spot, okay? And then the waters for the nasal bone, same positioning as the facial. So chin all the way up till that MML is perpendicular. Now I want you guys to collimate so that you're at 7 top to bottom and 5 side to side, okay? Now I'm gonna have my patient move her head out of the way so I can stick a marker in my top light field here. And then I'm gonna have her get back into position. So chin all the way up. I'm gonna turn my laser back on so I can see her acanthion. Right there. Bring this back up here. Perfect. Make sure I'm in the middle of the back of her head. MML is perpendicular. Hold your breath. That is our nasal waters. Okay? So same position. The only thing is we're collimating down so that we're just seeing this portion. All right? Because that's all we're looking at is to see if there's septal deviation or nasal deviation. Okay? Questions about any of those? No? All right. So for practicum, you'll draw either facial, nasal, or sinuses. So for facial, it'll be Caldwell, Waters, lateral. For nasal, it'll be left lateral, right lateral, Waters. Okay?
You okay? You good? Yeah.